Tonight, from the Sunshine State to the Safe State, Queensland answers the biggest SOS of all, becoming the home of the AFL. Hundreds more players, officials and their families are headed north, but the Premier has just one catch.
I did put in a bid, as you would expect me to, as Premier of Queensland, that if we're hosting most of the competition here, it would be great to see if we could actually host a grand final.
Every check and every balance. Roads into Queensland become a car park as authorities ramp up their mission to keep COVID out. Victoria's corona infiltration. A visitor from Melbourne confirmed as the cause of an outbreak now gripping Sydney. The farmers spreading the fruits of their labour to help the common good, and everyone is a winner. And bail denied. Jeffrey Epstein's former girlfriend to remain locked up until trial.
This is 10 News First Queensland with Joe Hill.
Good evening. The AFL has a new home tonight, and it's right here in Queensland. As the corona crisis tightens its grip on Victoria, the league has taken the drastic step of shifting all of the state's remaining teams here. But it comes with a catch, the Premier making it clear we should get first dibs on the biggest game of all.
The final siren sounds on AFL games in Victoria, ringing in a new era for the code in Queensland.
I can confirm that we are in talks to bring more teams, more players and officials here to Queensland.
Escaping their state's second wave, all 10 Victorian teams will eventually be based in hubs on the Gold and Sunshine Coast.
The state of Queensland has been very accommodating in providing world-class facilities for our clubs.
And while the fixture isn't finalised yet, it's likely Cairns could host games.
What our players and our clubs have said consistently is they want certainty, and it gives us flexibility. If we'd stayed here, we reduced and potentially were more cornered than we are now.
Families will also be allowed to join players after spending 14 days in quarantine. The AFL to foot the bill.
This is obviously more expensive than the alternative, but it's manageable.
So as well as backing the Suns and Lions, there's now a reason to rally behind a southern team, at least for the season.
Here's a great opportunity for suburbs and regions and schools to adopt a team. Let's do it. I mean, you know, people are going through a tough time, and I think that's a way we can all help.
But in return, the Premier's made a special request.
I did put in a bid, as you would expect me to, as Premier of Queensland, that if we're hosting most of the competition here, it would be great to see if we could actually host a grand final.
There is no decision made on the grand final. This is about the home and away season.
The AFL's been enticed to Queensland because we haven't had any known community transmission since May. Again, the state recorded no new cases overnight. That's despite a record number of residents being tested. Also getting the all clear, 17 of the 18 Queenslanders who visited the Crossroads Hotel at Kashula in Sydney. One patron is still waiting on results. Claire Barnes for 10 News First.
Health authorities are ramping up testing efforts across the Gold Coast to cut off any potential spread of COVID into Queensland. Police are urging drivers to delay trips or prepare for long waits as officers crack down on southern tourists.
Another day, another delay. Drivers were left waiting up to 2 hours in traffic during peak hour this morning, trying to cross one of the 5 border checkpoints into Queensland.
But we do need to apply an appropriate level of scrutiny for those New South Wales vehicles, and also, importantly, Victoria, which has been declared a hotspot.
As of yesterday, officers are scrutinising drivers from Victoria as well as New South Wales to ensure they haven't been to any erupting hotspots in the last 2 weeks. Senior police are now reviewing the current border passes to see if the process can't be sped up.
We're reviewing the appearance of the border declaration pass itself to make it easier for our intercepting officers to get people through quickly.
With tens of thousands crossing into Queensland every day, Gold Coast health authorities are stepping up testing efforts. Inbound passengers at Coolangatta Airport are all checked before they're released. From tomorrow, tourists and locals alike will be able to get tested at a pop-up fever clinic on Surfers Paradise Esplanade.
If the demand's high, we'll have some more pop-up stations.
Existing clinics at the city's 2 major hospitals, as well as Broadbeach, are seeing more than 300 patients a day.
The uptake at all of these centres has been huge, which has been fantastic.
Free to the public, no appointment is needed to get tested, but if you require any further medical treatment, you may be sent to your GP or the nearest hospital.
We've seen what's been happening in Victoria and New South Wales, and we want to be ahead of the game in Queensland, so we're very, very happy to test everyone.
All pop-up clinics will remain in place indefinitely, with more potentially on the way. Matthew Howard for 10 News First.
The source of Sydney's second wave of coronavirus infections has been traced to a visitor from Melbourne. Despite all efforts to contain it, the spread shows no sign of slowing, with 34 cases now linked to the outbreak.
She's a 20-year veteran in infectious diseases, working in conflict zones, including Yemen, and now leading the detective team tracing the sources of outbreaks in our battle against COVID-19.
She's been there. She's been in the war zone. She really knows what it's like to be facing down a war zone.
Jenny Musto today joined the Health Minister to reveal they've uncovered the source of the Crossroads Hotel cluster.
And they all went to a party that night of the 3rd of July at the Crossroads Hotel. So this is where it all began.
Patient 0 is a man who travelled to Sydney from Melbourne on June 30th and spent time in a freight workplace in the city where he inadvertently infected up to 6 colleagues. They then held a staff party at the Crossroads Hotel on the 3rd, sparking the outbreak.
Our focus here in New South Wales is not to lay blame. Our focus is to make sure that our community is kept safe.
The cluster now stands at 34 infections. 14 were at the hotel, 18 are their close contacts, and 2 people have now caught it from them.
This virus could win a gold medal at the Olympics at the speed at which it moves, and that makes it particularly dangerous.
It has spread to businesses throughout the southwest. The MacArthur Tavern in Campbelltown was today closed, as was the West Leagues Club in Lumia, after an infected patron visited the venues.
I have a grandmother who's 70 years old, so, it's pretty concerning.
And further still, a pizza place in Belfield, a burger bar in Parramatta, the Bankstown YMCA and the Woolworths in Bowral, all shut for cleaning.
We will have transmission from time to time, and that's just the way it is. We've got to accept that this is the new world order.
A new world order that has seen the Liverpool and Campbelltown areas, 77 suburbs and 400,000 people locked out of Queensland.
Coolangatta, we turned around 5 people at our airport, and from lunchtime yesterday we turned over 30 people around at the border.
And today the Northern Territory banned everyone from the Greater Sydney region.
To open our borders to Sydney right now, when we don't know the full extent of this cluster, would be a roll of the dice. And I don't gamble with the lives of Territorians.
Even here in New South Wales, the Bathurst RSL has warned those who live in hotspot areas. For now, they can't come in.
This is not a ban. We're not seeking to offend or upset anybody, but we're just trying to take a step that we think will be one step further in terms of protecting our community.
Protection in a pandemic, no easy task. Ursula Hager for 10 News First.
The Victorian Premier won't rule out tighter restrictions as health officials wait to see whether case numbers stabilise by the end of the week. Police there are growing increasingly frustrated by rule breakers.
Help is here. 100 extra Defence Force personnel arrived in Melbourne this afternoon to help police, paramedics and our public health team. After speculation the government would order even tougher lockdown measures today, Daniel Andrews delivered a stern warning to Victorians to do their bit.
Whether there are new rules that have to be imposed and whether people in really significant numbers die, that is in the hands of every single Victorian.
If stage 4 is on the cards, what does it look like?
Victoria's Chief Health Officer is hopeful of a drop in case numbers by the end of the week.
This wave is trickier, and so it won't be as easy to drive numbers down with the community transmission that's out there.
A woman in her 90s has become the 27th Victorian to die from the virus. 238 new cases were recorded, 29 could be traced. The rest are being investigated. There are now more than 1,900 active cases. 105 patients are in hospitals, 27 require intensive care.
A Australia has one of the best ICU survival rates in the world.
Brett Sutton assured Victorians the state's hospitals are prepared for the worst.
The number of people who are on ventilators at the moment is 22. We can go to 2,000 or more.
More than 30 nursing homes are now grappling with outbreaks. Embracia Aged Care Moonee Valley recording another 9 cases. The Altaqua College outbreak has risen by 3 to 150 cases. The Premier revealed he and the Chief Health Officer held discussions last night about the number of cases in regional Victoria. He said there are currently no plans to change restrictions outside of the current zone, but he reminded country Victorians things can change rapidly.
There are still rules, so rules about gatherings, the rules about hand hygiene, about cough etiquette.
And while Melbourne and the Mitchell Shire remain in lockdown, the COVID Safe app isn't making a difference to tracking second wave cases.
The app has not added a close contact that we haven't found through our very extensive long form interview that takes an hour or more, where we go through every single setting and encounter that people have.
Emma O'Sullivan for 10 News First.
US President Donald Trump has stepped up his hardline approach against China by refusing to hold more trade talks. He's also signed laws which he says will hold Beijing accountable for its actions in Hong Kong.
Donald Trump is done talking with China about the second phase of their trade deal.
I'm not interested right now in talking to China. Look, we made a great trade deal, but as soon as the deal was done, the ink wasn't even dry, and they hit us with the plague.
In the Rose Garden outside the Oval Office, the president took to punish Beijing for its treatment of Hong Kong.
Their freedom's been taken away, their rights have been taken away, and with it goes Hong Kong, in my opinion.
It's been months of unrest for Hong Kong, but now the US has ended preferential treatment for the territory after China enacted a new security law.
No special privileges, no special economic treatment, and no export of sensitive technologies.
He's also lashed out again at rival Joe Biden.
In contrast, Joe Biden's entire career has been a gift to the Chinese Communist Party. He said that the idea that China is our competition is really bizarre. He's really bizarre.
But Donald Trump's own niece thinks he's unqualified.
He's utterly incapable of leading this country, and it's dangerous to allow him to do so.
Mary Trump speaking out on her tell-all book for the first time since a gag order was lifted.
Based on what you see now or what you saw then?
Based on what I've seen my entire adult life.
Britain, meanwhile, has joined the US and Australia banning Chinese tech giant Huawei from its 5G network.
The UK can no longer be confident it will be able to guarantee the security of future Huawei 5G equipment.
Back home, and Senator Rex Patrick is calling on the Morrison government to reduce China's diplomatic presence across Australia.
It's very clear that people in embassies don't necessarily just conduct diplomacy. Sometimes they are involved in foreign interference.
China has 148 officials. The United States has just 108. Tegan George for 10 News First.
Jeffrey Epstein's former girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, has been denied bail in a New York court. The 58-year-old pleaded not guilty to helping recruit, groom and abuse minors as young as 14. Our correspondent Eamon Ashton-Atkinson was at the courthouse.
Ghislaine Maxwell kept her composure throughout the virtual bail hearing, but when the judge denied her bid for freedom, she burst into tears. Prosecutors argued the socialite poses a substantial flight risk. They noted her 15 bank accounts around the world worth more than $20 million along with her 3 passports. But her lawyers say she's the victim, at risk of catching coronavirus and the target of endless media spin. They added, she's not the monster, she's not Epstein.
Maxwell was among Epstein's closest associates and helped him exploit girls who were as young as 14 years old.
It wasn't just the lawyers speaking today. The court also heard from 3 of Ghislaine Maxwell's accusers, one saying she was manipulative and calculating, the other testified that it was Maxwell in charge, egging Jeffrey Epstein on. The court heard Maxwell used an alias and wrapped her phone in aluminium foil to avoid detection.
So what's the importance of this?
Now the accused sex trafficker will spend the next year awaiting trial. She'll live in isolation with a light on day and night under constant supervision, so she lives to stand trial unlike Epstein. Today the wealthy socialite says she's uncomfortable. Her accusers wouldn't want it any other way.
Seeing Ghislaine go through a court proceeding, and face justice, I think would really be very, very helpful.
And with rumours Maxwell holds incriminating evidence against her powerful friends, some of them may be feeling pretty uncomfortable too. Eamon Ashton-Atkinson for 10 News First, New York.
Coming up, the bold bid by Victorians to escape state lines that literally went off the rails. Also, a rude awakening for the alleged president of the so-called mongrel mob at Logan. Plus, a helping hand from the land as farmers offer fruit for the common good. And in sport, the driving force keeping Broncos captain Alex Glenn positive during his injury-plagued season.
You know those moments when you just stop caring about anything else than what's right in front of you?
All I could think of was kissing him.
If I didn't already have butterflies in my stomach, they were flying out in all directions at this point.
I was swept off my feet.
He's 100% my future baby daddy.
It just feels so perfect.
From the second she walked in, I was in love with her.
Bachelor in Paradise starts 7:30 tonight.
Winter feels so much more cosy with 50% off at Plush. Shop in showroom or online, now with 48 months interest-free.
When your throat is swollen or painful, standard lozenges may not be enough. Call on Strepsils Extra. Its advanced formula goes beyond our standard lozenges and numbs pain fast. Strepsils Extra for an extra sore throat.
If you're thinking of cancelling with another car insurer or you're an existing NRMA insurance customer, you can now get third-party fire and theft cover for just $10 a month.
At Drake Supermarkets, we've got ingredients for work days with Uncle Toby's Quick Oats below half price. And for barbecue days with Australian Economy Beef Porterhouse Steak, $15 a kilo. Drake Supermarkets.
Ingredients for every day.
Hey, Powerball is now at $3 million. Are you keen? Well, first you have to play.
Play now in-store at thelot.com or on the Lot app.
Right now, receive up to $100,000 towards your new Clarendon home, with up to $60,000 off the price of your new home, and up to $40,000 in government grants. See our website today.
This July, Hyundai has value you'll have to see to believe. Get great value across our range of vehicles, packed with technology, safety and style. And right now, get a special 2.9% finance rate across the Hyundai SUV range. Contact your local Hyundai dealer today for a limited time only.
Australia. Prepare to be thrilled.
Thrilled.
Remember my name. I'm gonna live forever. Remember my name. Don't you know who I am?
Afternoon, still some big delays on the Gateway heading northbound from Nudgee up to the Bruce Highway after an earlier crash up around Bicentennial Road. Busy conditions around the city too after an earlier crash around Greenslope. Slow going on Coronation Drive, particularly coming in towards the city, as you can see there, heading up on towards North Quay. Riverside Expressway, Captain Cook Bridge is a little bit busy too. We'll show you that in a sec. In the meantime, that's the go between Bridge, which is a little bit slow coming out of South Brisbane, and the run out onto the Pacific Motorway is a little bit slow and continues slow out to about Greenslopes. I'm Dave Andrews. Thanks to Palm Lake Resort and Joe. Another check of the roads coming up a little later in the bulletin.
Great stuff, Dave. Thank you. We'll see you soon. Body cam vision has captured the dramatic moment police stormed an alleged bikies' Logan home, seizing drugs and weapons. The raid uncovered cannabis, an air rifle and ammunition. Police also seized prohibited paraphernalia associated with outlaw motorcycle gang the Mongrel Mob. They've charged a 24-year-old man with a string of serious offences. A gang of border busters has faced an Adelaide court after stowing away on a freight train from Victoria. But despite that state's hardline COVID closure, all of them escaped without so much as a fine.
After travelling hundreds of kilometres in the back of a freight train, these 4 men ended up with no more than a one-way ticket into the police cells.
And it's a clear message to anyone who wants to stow away or illegally enter South Australia's borders, contrary to the directions of the Coordinator-General. You will be caught and you will be dealt with.
Stowaways Nicholas Batty, Jacob Todd, Alexander Moore and Sam Gledhill jumped onto a carriage in Victoria, gliding straight through the locked-down South Australian border. At least 2 of the men intended to make their way to the Northern Territory, but the train's driver spotted them at the Adelaide terminal yesterday morning. All 4 today pleaded guilty to failing to comply with the direction and being unlawfully on premises. Their lawyers told the court that they'd made a foolish decision, that they weren't aware of the border rules and didn't realise the implications. The magistrate told them those implications could have been dire for a state that has been weeks coronavirus-free. He found they'd struggle to pay a fine, so released them on good behaviour bonds with no convictions. They were packed off to a custody of sorts, whisked away into taxis to the City Quarantine Hotel under the watch of police and SA Health. And what was once a free train ride will now be a $3,000 stay. Kate Summers for 10 News First.
State government has announced a $90 million package to help get Queenslanders back to work post-pandemic. The funds will bolster 3 existing programs to create hundreds of jobs in hospitality and tourism.
We know that young people were hit particularly hard during COVID, so these packages are aimed very much at getting young people back into work and training.
Employers who hire an apprentice or trainee could receive up to $20,000 under the scheme. Well, some very generous Queensland strawberry farmers are providing sweet support for medical research. 5 tonnes of delicious, freshly picked berries have been donated to help you create the famous Eka sundae at home.
Straight from the crop into the cone.
Don't be a skimp on those strawberries. There's plenty of more to come, Adrian.
All for a very good cause. These strawberry farmers are the pick of the bunch, digging extra deep this year to support the Prince Charles Hospital's medical research charity, The Common Good.
You know, as strawberry growers, we try and do is whatever we can, you know, to support the industry and the community around us.
Between Sunray Strawberries and Ashburn Farms, up to 25,000 punnets are being donated to help create the famous Eka sundae without the Eka.
It'll cover all the strawberry requirements in that delicious little iconic Brisbane treat. So we're really lucky because the end game of all this is because of this generosity means that we can raise more funds for health and medical research.
Usually at this time of year, those hills behind me would also be covered in strawberry runners, but the drought means every season is a struggle. Despite the farmers' own battles, they were determined to still help this cause.
We need to keep the tradition going and they're struggling. We're all struggling in this community and we're all in it together.
It's only the second time the Common Good has done Sundays outside the show. 2 years ago, they took to King George Square in the wake of the contamination crisis. Now COVID has forced another rethink. 500 DIY ice cream packs cakes have already been sold and plans are in full swing for several pop-up stalls across Brisbane during Ekka Week.
Don't feel guilty about the ice cream. I love ice cream, but I also love strawberries, so we'll use that as an excuse.
And that's very good advice. Georgina Hill for 10 News First.
That's a fantastic cause, that one, isn't it?
Your lovely wife brought back a big punnet, Joe. I had 3 strawberries. They were delicious.
I saw you getting into them.
But she did forget the rest of the strawberry sundae, Georgie. Maybe next time.
Next time, of course. All right, let's get some weather, mate. Some big waves off the east coast.
Absolutely huge, Joe. In fact, all propelled by this intense low-pressure system situated in the Tasman Sea, sending a very strong surge of southerly swell across New South Wales. This was Manly earlier today on the southern point. Just have a look at the size of these waves. Absolutely incredible stuff. We've seen severe weather warnings issued for the entire coast of New South Wales for dangerous and damaging surf conditions. And as you can see, these right-handers proving a little bit tricky for some of the board riders, although a couple of nice barrels there for some. We're seeing this southerly surge also stretch a little bit further northward towards areas of Queensland. And we'll start to see the effects of that as we get through Thursday. In fact, a hazardous surf warning has now been issued for the Queensland coast. It extends from the Gold Coast waters all the way up to the Fraser Coast. Moving into the southeast, temperatures today, we hit 22 in Brisbane, 21 the top at the sunny coast, 22 degrees at the Gold Coast and 23 at Ipswich. But we'll have all the weather details, Joe, coming up at 5 to 6.
Look forward to it, Josh. Thank you. Well, ahead, the Depp's housekeeper tells all at his defamation trial. Also, what had this French politician in such a panic? And the cat's tail that got the tongue of a British MP.
Palm Lake Resort's new home bonus gives you $25,000 off your new home in one of their luxury over 50s lifestyle communities. Be quick, ends December 2020. Terms and conditions apply. Visit palmlakeresort.com.au.
Oh, it's Brittany.
That chick from Badger City.
Yeah, she's
so hot.
Tim in no way is my type. Never ever have I dated anybody like him.
Brittany's just so well spoken. Those eyes, like, oof.
He really took me by surprise. Something about him that I want to get to know more.
I might be in trouble.
Bachelor in Paradise on 10. It all starts 7:30 tonight.
It feels like we've had all the time in the world. But now, it's time to drive. Feel the freedom of getting back on the road and seeing where it takes you. In the Lexus IS, NX, UX or RX. It's time to drive. At your nearest Lexus dealer.
Save up to 10% on your first year's premium when you get a new Allianz home insurance policy online.
Okay, done.
Allianz feeling. Search for a quote today.
Are you unable to work due to illness or injury? You could claim insurance as part of your super. Talk to Australia's #1 law firm today. Morris Blackburn Lawyers will maximise your claim. Call for your free super check now. It costs nothing to know where you stand.
Feed the family with Hungry Jack's new family bundle. Treat yourself with 2 Whoppers, 2 cheeseburgers, 4 small chips, 4 Cokes, 10 nuggets and sauce, only $24.95. Get takeaway, drive-through or delivery at Hungry Jack's.
Well, I think he's a gorgeous man, but his hair bothered him. And it bothered me that it bothered him.
So he booked the appointment.
Reached your turning point? The doctors at Ashley and Martin could help regrow your hair.
You've dreamed of places to go. You promised one day. Now, one day is here. New adventures. Wide open spaces. So, you can't travel the world right now. So what? New South Wales is here for you. Let's all reboot 2020. One unforgettable experience at a time. Now's the time to love New South Wales.
Building, renovating, extending, Carpet Call has you covered for all of your flooring and blinds needs. There's carpet, timber, laminate, hybrid, vinyl, rugs, and even made-to-order shutters and blinds for every situation. And at Carpet Call, there's no middleman, just great flooring. So call Carpet Call for Australia's largest supplier of floor coverings at Australia's best prices. Call Carpet Call. We're the experts in the trade.
The experts in the trade.
Construction on Cross River Rail is well and truly underway, which means more jobs and more training opportunities for Queenslanders as we unite and recover against COVID-19. Search Cross River Rail for everything you need to know. Authorised by the Queensland Government, Brisbane.
We know that they're going to go back out at some stage, and whether we've got them for a day or 5 months, what can we do to invest and make a change?
Authorised by the Queensland Government, Brisbane.
It's the grand finale over 2 big nights.
There's no time to hold back now. I just cannot let it slip away.
I'm here back to win.
You are the winner of MasterChef Back to Win!
The MasterChef grand finale starts 7:30 Sunday.
Hello there, investors were feeling pretty good today. The share market had its best day in a month, spending much of it above the 6,000 mark. Now, CommSec analysis suggests these results are because of encouraging signs for a potential COVID-19 vaccine and for a better start in the US markets tonight. And that helped offset worries about the worsening pandemic. The ASX 200 finishing 1.9% higher, Afterpay in positive territory after announcing a partnership with Apple Pay and Google Pay for in-store purchases in the US. Energy provider Origin revealed it's bracing for a profit hit, partly due to COVID-19. The dollar, well, it pushed above 70 US cents again this afternoon to trade at a 4-week high. Now, Woolworths is going all tech to better manage spikes in customer traffic within its supermarkets because of COVID-19. It's called Q Tracker and gives shoppers real-time data. They'll be able to search their preferred store by postcode or suburb to see how long they'll have to wait in the queue outside. The data updates every 5 minutes. The point? To maintain a smooth flow of customers while social distancing. Woolies got the ball rolling at the height of the first wave of COVID-19, and it's also trialling a booking system for some Melbourne stores. And this afternoon, the competition regulator indicated it'll allow supermarkets to continue to work together until March next year to ensure the continued supply of food and groceries during the pandemic. And that's finance.
It's been the most bizarre day yet in Johnny Depp's defamation case against a British tabloid. London's High Court heard startling claims from the movie star's former housekeeper. Phoebe Bowden is in London.
A bouquet of flowers and a hug for Johnny Depp as he takes the Sun to court for claiming he beat his ex-wife Amber Heard. The Hollywood star's cleaner among the latest witnesses. She spoke of finding faeces in the marital bed of the then couple. Depp believes the ghastly act was committed by Amber Heard or one of her friends, and that it was the moment he knew his marriage was over. The court was also shown text messages Depp sent to his doctor after a trip to Australia, where his finger was sliced off, he claims by Heard. "I just cannot live like this. I'm done, no more." She is so ambitious. She's so desperate for success and fame. That's probably why I was a quiet mate. Although she has hammered me with what a sad old man has been, I am. The actor's security guard says the couple was screaming at each other while on the Gold Coast. Depp's security guard told the court he never saw the actor hit Heard and wouldn't tolerate that type of behaviour. He also said that while in Australia, he saw Heard put a cigarette out on Depp's face. Heard claims that the day before she appeared on this talk show,
I grew up, in Texas riding horses and...
Oh, really?
She had 2 black eyes at the hands of Depp. According to the actress's stylist, she had no visible injuries the next day. Phoebe Bowden for 10 News First, London.
New Zealand's election isn't due until September, but it's a safe bet their next Prime Minister will be a woman. The opposition National Party has chosen Judith Collins as its new leader after her predecessor stepped down this week for health reasons. The former lawyer will face off against Jacinda Ardern, whose time in office has included her country's worst recorded massacre and the pandemic.
There is no chance at all that I'm going to let
Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern get away with any nonsense when it comes to our economy and doing her job. I will hold her to account.
Ms Collins is the Nationals' fourth leader in 3 years. A French government minister has worked herself into quite a panic after realising she'd forgotten to bring a mask to a Bastille Day ceremony. Masks are compulsory in crowded public spaces across France, so the mishap quickly lit up the internet. Luckily, another official came to her rescue, with the minister's reaction once again demonstrating how much the pandemic has changed the world. Like many people working remotely, 3 members of the British Armed Forces have had to hold an important meeting with their boss via video link. Queen Elizabeth called the servicemen and women over Zoom to see how their work has changed during the pandemic and how they're staying fit with gyms closed.
I've been pushing a car up and down the street. I've had to make a gym.
Well, I suppose that's one way to train.
Yeah, so that's definitely one way to train, Mum.
Very interesting to hear about all those deployments.
The Queen ended the call by thanking everyone for their service. And in Scotland, a very serious-looking parliamentary committee Zoom meeting has been hijacked by a rather mischievous intruder.
Are also now embracing this. Why apologise for my cat's tail? Why are you not doing this by default? Rocco, could you tell them?
Apparently Rocco refused to budge, leaving his owner red-faced and lost for words. All right, well, stay with us. Tonight's top stories follow the break. Also, after a rollercoaster few months, Gold Coast theme parks swing back into action. And the Brisbane Museum to reopen with untold stories to share about the river city's history.
Tonight, as COVID clusters continue to grow, should Australia consider the elimination strategy to beat the pandemic?
The AFL handballed North. Everything you need to know about the new home for the 2020 season.
Pop princess Ellie Goulding is talking married life and ISO music.
And ACT police are asking people in lockdown to stop answering the door nude. What hope do we have of people wearing masks if they won't even wear pants?
See you at 6:30.
Is that chick from Badger Season?
Yeah, she's
so hot.
Britt is absolutely gorgeous.
He really took me by surprise. Something about him that I want to get to know more.
I might be in trouble.
Bachelor in Paradise starts tonight on 10.
The great outdoors has never looked better. And to celebrate, Mitsubishi is offering 7 years warranty and up to $1,500 worth of genuine accessories. So you'll be all set to come and see for yourself.
Our skin goes through a lot, day by day. Time to reward it. Discover Nivea Body Lotion with Deep Moisture Serum. For 48-hour deep moisture you can feel and see.
Right now, receive up to $100,000 towards your new home with Clarendon Homes. For a limited time, you can take up to $60,000 off the price of your new Clarendon home. That's right, up to $60,000 off. Plus, there's up to $40,000 in government grants available for eligible home buyers. It's called the Clarendon Advantage, and it's available now from Clarendon Homes. See our website for your nearest display centre.
A shout out to our Steel Blue legends. You dig deep every day to put the roofs over our heads. You've got our backs and we've got your feet. Steel Blue boots, built for comfort, made for work.
Nurofen Advanced liquid capsules have a thin seam, which enables fast release into the body. To sort pain out fast, use Nurofen Advanced liquid capsules. Unleash the speed of liquid.
Getting your tax done doesn't have to be slow and painful. That's why there's eTax. With an easy online form and a team of experts working to put money back in your pocket, you'll have your tax done in minutes, not days. And with thousands of 5-star reviews, you'll see why Australia loves eTax. Get your tax done the smart way. Go to etax.com.au.
What's better than bacon? More bacon. Hungry Jack's Baconator Deluxe. 4 rashers of premium bacon and 2 flame grilled beef patties. The Baconator Deluxe from Hungry Jack's. Available on Uber Eats, menu log and the Hungry Jack's app. The burgers are better.
A promise is something Brighton Homes have always taken seriously. They're committed to building homes that let life in. But right now, a promise is more important than ever. Brighton promises that their homes will still embrace the best in Queensland living, with flexible deposit conditions and a price hold of up to 20 months. Plus, with a considerate cashback of up to 30 grand, you know the future is better with Brighton.
Out here, we know one thing to be true. You'll never feel richer than when you're surrounded by the things that matter. Like a big sky, a long sunset, a good story, and places that feel impossible to leave. Bottomless charm wrapped in endless beauty. Welcome to the Scenic Rim, the richest place on Earth in Australia.
Hello again. As we wrap things up tonight, still some busy conditions on the Pacific Motorway leaving the city out to about Greenslopes after a crash earlier this afternoon. Quite slow going here on the Ipswich Motorway heading out through Rockley and Oxley. Plenty of ongoing roadworks through there. Slow on the Centenary Highway too for some reason. Inbound from Darra all the way through to the Jindalee Bridge, and a busy old run on the Western Freeway starting up at around about the Toowong roundabouts at Mount Cootha all the way out past Moggle Road to Fig Tree Pocket. Very slow going. I'm Dave Andrews. Thanks to Palm Lake Resort. Have yourself a great night, and I'll be back to check the roads again for you tomorrow.
Tonight's top stories: a safe haven for the AFL. All remaining Victorian teams to relocate to Queensland for the next 10 weeks to escape the corona crisis and keep the season alive. Testing ramped up on the Gold Coast as authorities ensure all the checks and balances are in place to stop COVID from coming north. And bail denied. Jeffrey Epstein's former girlfriend to remain locked up after a judge ruled Ghislaine Maxwell too much of a flight risk. After nearly 4 months behind closed doors, 2 of the Gold Coast's biggest theme parks reopened today. Movie World and Wet n Wild welcome back crowds this morning with new health precautions in place. It comes after operator Village Roadshow was losing $15 million a month in maintenance costs.
Big smile on my face this morning. So excited to be here today and look forward to seeing everybody having fun in our theme parks again.
All Village Roadshow parks are now open at 50% capacity. Rival Dreamworld is still yet to set a date to welcome back guests. Quirky and colourful yarns about Brisbane are being explored in a new exhibition inside City Hall. 9 authors were asked to write about the River City, with their words now brought to life.
A red back on the dunny, a rivet from the Story Bridge, a fuel can used to set the Whiskey A Go-Go aflame.
The idea of the exhibition is that you're sort of stepping into a storybook.
9 exhibits that breathe life into 9 short stories about Brisbane, penned by some of the city's most prominent authors.
They took a bunch of writers of a variety of ages and gave us all our own 9-room share house.
Nick Earls wrote about the first home he bought after getting married, a rickety old Queenslander in Red Hill.
You don't just live in a Queenslander, you have a relationship with it because it needs a bit done to it. But when you do that, it's really rewarding because it's such a distinctive style.
Trent Dalton spun a yarn about his old babysitter Slim Halliday, who also happened to serve at Her Majesty's pleasure at Boggarrow Jail. Trent began researching Slim's fascinating life a few years back.
I found folder after folder of stories about the Houdini of Boggo Road, this man who in the 1950s escaped the inescapable Boggo Road prison twice.
Simon Cleary was asked to write about Kangaroo Point, so he delved into the origins of the suburb's name. Turns out it's been lost in the mists of time.
You know, that just prompted this question about what we lose, you know, in terms of history. When we lay down layer upon layer upon layer of history, you know, what are the things that we forget?
The Storytellers exhibition opens this Friday at City Hall. Bookings are essential. Brendan Savage for 10 News First.
Well, it is sport time now. Jono, looks like Queensland is the new home of the AFL.
Certainly got a very nice ring to it, doesn't it, Joe? Beauty. Thank you very much. Coming up, the Sunshine State's set to welcome the majority of Victorian teams for next week. So, how will it work? Details are next. Plus, Broncos captain Alex Glenn opens up on his roller coaster season and why he won't be giving up on the game. And while the Big Bash announces its season, there's one superstar furious about the schedule.
Palm Lake Resort's new home bonus gives you $25,000 off your new home in one of their luxury over 50s lifestyle communities. Be quick, ends December 2020. Terms and conditions apply. Visit palmlakeresort.com.au.
Viral Wednesday rears its hilarious head. Get excited.
As the rest of Australia does, I have a bit of a crush on Kieran. I think he's hot, and he's such a naughty boy. I just want Kieran.
Oh, Abby, I brought you some grapes.
He and I are really compatible.
She definitely came in here knowing what she wanted, and Abby generally gets what she wants.
Bachelor in Paradise on 10. It all starts 7:30 tonight.
There's only one thing to look for. Choose a super fund with this symbol.
We're all in this together.
There's something to be said for real, and for the real value of someone who cares. Giving real advice on quality products, and knowing for real that the work is guaranteed. And for the real satisfaction you feel when a job is well done. Welcome to Anderson's. Real people doing what we really love. And that's why we're the respected name in floor coverings.
You bought a Jeep?
Yeah, I bought a Jeep.
We're going to need a bigger boat.
Yep. And if we need anything else, Jeep has adjusted the price of over 17,000 parts to reduce running costs. So, you ready to go boat shopping?
I'm in.
Trust RACQ Home and Contents Insurance to protect the things that make your home yours, inside and out. Cover more of what matters with RACQ. Buy online now and save up to $75.
Pre-rinsing wastes up to 40 litres of water. Let's end this. With Finish, if you promise to stop pre-rinsing, we'll donate 40 litres of water to those who need it most. Join the movement. Finish.
So good to see you again, Harry.
You too, Granny.
I'm actually glad we split.
Really?
Yes. Whoever thought you could combine a Supreme and pepperoni?
Nothing brings people together like a Domino's half and half. Bring it in.
Construction on Cross River Rail is well and truly underway, which means more jobs and more training opportunities for Queenslanders as we unite and recover against COVID-19. Search Cross River Rail for everything you need to know. Authorised by the Queensland Government, Brisbane.
Right now, receive up to $100,000 towards your new home with Clarendon Homes. For a limited time, you can take up to $60,000 off the price of your new Clarendon home. That's right, up to $60,000 off. Plus, there's up to $40,000 in government grants available for eligible home buyers. It's called the Clarendon Advantage, and it's available now from Clarendon Homes. See our website for your nearest display centre.
What you got?
Just a little thing we've been working on.
This Saturday with Sportsbet at 3 tracks for all races. Finish second or third and get up to $50 back in bonus bets. That's 27 races.
Not bad.
You are the winner of MasterChef Back to Win.
The MasterChef Grand Finale starts Sunday.
He's had a season he'd much rather forget, but Broncos captain Alex Glenn says he won't be forced into early retirement. Out for 2 months with another significant injury, Glenn's turned his attention to leading from the sideline.
Named Broncos captain in January, this was meant to be Alex Glenn's year.
I was in great shape and excited for the season, and then
the whole world flipped upside down.
That's an understatement. Glenn nursed a hamstring injury through the pre-season before a calf complaint ruled him out of the opening rounds. Then the pandemic hit. Months later, he'd played just half of round 3 after a stud to the leg sent him for surgery. He'd managed just 4 more matches until this moment on Saturday.
Is Glenn in trouble? What am I doing in this world that's, keep bringing me down?
The high-grade MCL injury begging the inevitable question. At 31, has he played long enough?
And there's going to be so many doubters saying, he's old, he should hang him up. But I still believe, I've still got a lot to give to this game.
His family is a constant source of support.
They're like, oh, you got a sore leg, Daddy. And one of those moments, it makes you understand that life's not always about footy.
Glenn's turned his attention to leading from the sidelines. He made sure to be on field for the side's first session without him yesterday.
I wanted to be out there with the boys, give any guidance or tips that I could.
Glenn hopes to return for the last 2 matches of the regular season, tackling his looming 8-week recovery with trademark optimism.
We keep pushing forward. We keep fighting these challenges, and at the end of the day, it's going to help me be a stronger person mentally and physically.
Veronica Eggleton for 10 News First.
The Cowboys might have around $2 million worth of talent out injured, but that's no excuse, according to Josh Maguire. North Queensland have conceded 140 points in their last 4 games.
If we're going to sit here and blame injuries, it's a bit of a cop-out. So whether you're, the highest paid player at the club or a young guy coming in, there's an expectation when you take the field as a first grader, you play at first grade standard.
It doesn't get any easier. They meet the red-hot Panthers on Sunday afternoon. The Lions and Suns have welcomed today's announcement that 8 out of the 10 Victorian AFL teams are set to call Queensland home. While they're no strangers to sharing their stadiums, a whole range of new locations throughout the state are set to benefit.
This day was inevitable.
Queensland will become the centre of AFL.
With the vast majority of Victoria's teams needing a new home for the remainder of the season, hosting matches will be an entire state effort.
It's possible we're playing in North Queensland, absolutely, Cairns. I've got a lot of my management team want to oversee a game in Port Douglas.
Something that could easily spark jealousy from the Suns and Lions.
That's great for our community, great for Queensland. The sport is really growing, and to have the spotlight on that region, we're excited by that.
It's definitely the most unusual, weird, unique season that's ever happened. So yeah, you just got to roll with it, I guess.
While Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk and AFL CEO Gillon McLachlan have worked closely to make it happen, there's one thing they don't agree on.
That if we're hosting most of the competition here, it would be great to see if we could actually host a grand final.
The grand final is at the MCG until there are circumstances and reasons that it can't be.
Suns coach Stuart Dew will steer his side through the tricky period after months of delay, finally penning a 2-year extension to remain at the club.
I'm a piece of the puzzle, and the players are obviously a really important piece, and we've got a big commitment from basically the bulk of our playing list, which is important.
At the Lions, Grant Birchall's preparing for the huge task of stopping 2019 leading goal kicker Jeremy Cameron. The ban on full squad contact at training making life even harder.
Yeah, it's a bit frustrating, but it's not ideal, particularly as a defender. But that's just the way it is at the moment.
Josh McLean for 10 News First.
It'll be an emotional homecoming for former Reds prop Greg Holmes on Friday night. After 144 caps for Queensland, he spent the last 4 years in England and now Perth with the Force, meaning his dad hasn't seen him play since 2016. But he's just hoping to remember to go to the right change room.
That's actually one thing that did cross my mind during the week. I've never been across to the visitors' change room there at Suncorp. So yeah, it's a new experience, and that's why you play the game.
Don't expect too much banter though, with James O'Connor and Taniela Tupou the only 2 current players Holmes lined up with. Brisbane Heat skipper Chris Lynn has hit the big bash for 6, blasting the game's governing body after they lengthened the season. Lynn tweeting before deleting, "The Golden Goose has been cooked again." The Heat have a jam-packed back end to the competition, playing 7 games in 20 days.
It looks like a tough finish for us. Looks like quite a hectic finish, but we'll just have to, play with that and make sure that everyone's fresh and ready to go for that back end of the season when it gets quite busy for us.
The WBBL will play a full standalone fixture between October and December as the Heat chase a third straight title. Another roadblock in the supercar season, with anyone who's been to Sydney now having to quarantine if they go to the Northern Territory, where they're supposed to race in 3 weeks. Victorian-based teams are already locked away from their families.
I haven't looked at the calendar too much because literally it's changing day to day. Sydney, when we come here, was safe, to now starting to get a few hot spots as well. So we want to get out of here to make sure we get to the next race.
A limited number of fans are allowed in for this weekend's round at Eastern Creek, which begins under lights on Saturday night. Plenty more sport coming out after 6, including a special play of the day, including one of our very own.
Look forward to that. Won't give too much away, but it is very good. Well, will the sunny skies continue? Josh has got all of the weather details after the break.
Kieran has an ex-girlfriend and she is coming to paradise.
What is the point in this?
People don't know what actually happened between Kieran and I. There's just so much that he's lied about. None of these people know while you were in the mansion, you were...
Oh, this. I'm done. I'm going on.
No, I cannot do it. Kieran's trying to play the victim 100%. He's just played everybody.
Bachelor in Paradise starts 7:30 tonight on 10.
If you've been injured and can't work, your normal life and income can suddenly stop. Check if you have an insurance claim through your super online in minutes, so you can start again. With Slater and Gordon, tomorrow starts today.
Well, would you look at Greg? Never seen him so happy. Pig in mud. The footy's back. The gang's all here. Someone just brought him a beer. His team's even winning, and doesn't Greg know it? Happy Greg, smug Greg. Nothing can ruin Greg's vibe.
My kidneys have got bigger stones than him.
Oh, Nat.
Nice try, mother of Greg.
Oh.
Your home, your stadium, all in one place.
At Pacific Harbour, Bribie Island, the beach is part of your life. Secure your large home site from under $290,000. Just 50 minutes from Brisbane Airport by bridge. Visit bribeybeach.com.au.
JB Hi-Fi is smashing prices with a whopping 20% off big brand computers. That's 20% off. Take $150 for the Samsung Galaxy S10. And this is nuts. $250 off Misfit smartwatches crunched to $99. In store, click and collect or get it delivered. JB, you've done it again.
When pain and fever symptoms strike, a kiss can make them feel better. But for effective relief through the night, there's Nurofen for children. Starts to reduce fever from 15 minutes, lasts for up to 8 hours, and is trusted by 9 out of 10 Australian parents.
Dad, what's up with your arm?
This. It's my epic reminder so I don't forget about Aldi's special buys.
Is that your elbow?
Don't touch it.
Tie yourself an epic reminder for this Saturday and get a 65-inch Android TV for $699, a soundbar for $129, and a 4-way surge protector for $24.99. Only at Aldi. Good, different.
Choosing insurance? Buy a home or car insurance policy, and Amy Flexi Premiums lets you vary your excess to save now or later. Choose a higher excess to save now, or choose a lower excess to save at claim time.
You're with Amy.
Okay, long black for Dave, skinny latte for Dave, hot chockey for Dave, and cappuccino for David. Who's David?
From $1 each, shout the team at 7-Eleven.
Getting back on the road is something we're all looking forward to. And at Toyota, we're here to help you do just that.
Get 3.9% finance across the Corolla, hatch and sedan range. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
Everything you need to know about the AFL's big move to Queensland next.
It's weather time now, and Josh, a beautiful week on the way.
That's right, Joe. The sunny skies are certainly here to stay, although so too the cold mornings. We're expecting the mercury drop to around about 5 degrees again tomorrow for areas like Ipswich. And we'll get to that extended forecast in just a few moments. Firstly, to the weather cam. Today in the city, we hit top 23 degrees, one above average for this time of year, after an overnight low of just 11. A little bit cooler further west, Ipswich getting down to 1.8 degrees earlier today. Right now we're sitting on 19 degrees in the city, humidity at 35% and the winds at 11 kilometres per hour. That 19 degrees, mind you, well, the apparent temperature or feel like temperature sitting on around about 15, so it's still quite chilly out there. Moving into the satellite tonight, well, it was clear skies across Queensland as we got through today. Pretty much most of the clouds situated in the Tasman Sea associated with a low pressure system, driving in some massive swell along the New South Wales coast. We saw those pictures a little bit earlier in the weather tonight off Manly, but further north we're going to get a dose as well over the southern coastline of Queensland. In fact, a hazardous surf warning has now been issued for the Gold Coast waters, the Sunshine Coast waters and Fraser Coast waters, and it's all due to the low pressure system but slowly shifting off towards New Zealand currently, so the wind speed certainly easing for the New South Wales coast and through southeastern Queensland today, which was great. Tomorrow, got a high pressure system moving in behind it, helping to barge that system out of the way. We're expecting another cold, clear night, and as a result, those temperatures really plummeting across the southern central inland. Those early frost patches certainly a feature tomorrow. Also got a cold front moving over the southwest of WA. It will be a fine, clear day for areas of Queensland tomorrow. Slight chance of a shower around areas of the peninsula, but other areas of the state will remain fine. And that hazardous surf warning, as mentioned, for the southern coast of Queensland. Interstate and Sydney tomorrow, we're looking at top temperatures of 17 degrees. Chance of a shower there, and a foggy start for Melbourne with 5 degrees overnight, 12 through the afternoon. Fine and sunny skies for Adelaide. Another cool start for the Alice, getting down to -1 in the desert. 21 degrees for Perth tomorrow. Showers and thunderstorms on the way, and fine and sunny skies for Darwin, hitting tops of 32. Another cracking day for the tropics. 25 the top for Cairns and Townsville tomorrow. 22 for Mackay, and fine and sunny skies stretching across Rocky, Gladstone and down through Bundaberg, Maryborough and Gympie, although early frost patches a feature for Roma. 0 overnight, 19 degrees for tomorrow afternoon. For the southeast, it will be fine and sunny. Overnight temperatures falling to between 3 and 9 degrees, with daytime temperatures reaching between 18 and 22. Now, you must note, large and powerful surf conditions are expected to be hazardous for coast activities such as rock fishing, swimming and surfing tomorrow, so make sure you adhere to all the local signage on the beaches and do the lifeguards a favour and make sure you always swim between those red and yellow flags. West to southwest is on the bay tomorrow up to 25 knots and the sea's 1.5 metres. 22 for Brisbane, fine and sunny skies for Thursday and staying that way Friday, getting up to 24 degrees, a little bit warmer. 23 the top Saturday and 24 degrees on Sunday. As mentioned earlier, a very cold start tomorrow for Ipswich, 5 degrees. It'll be much the same Friday, Saturday and Sunday morning, but the trade-off, fine and clear skies as we get through this week. Now, don't forget, if you'd like to stay tuned for the code word, you could win a $1,400 Coles voucher.
A rugby league state becomes AFL heartland. All remaining Victorian teams to head north to our safe haven as the Premier makes a play for the biggest game of all. Ramping up the checks and balances, visitors wanting in brought to a standstill and testing stations set up to keep COVID out. And Jeffrey Epstein's former girlfriend spent a year locked up in isolation after a judge today denied her bail. Queensland's Premier has made a bold bid for the AFL's biggest game. Anastasia Palaszczuk wants the grand final after offering a safe haven to the remainder of Victoria's teams. Hundreds of players, officials and family will now head north to escape the growing corona crisis.
Like so many Victorians over the years, the AFL is fleeing midwinter to Queensland.
With COVID-19 in Victoria, Victorian teams will be based out of Queensland for up to 10 weeks.
The league's move north revealed by a jubilant Queensland Premier in an election year.
A short time ago, I spoke to AFL CEO Gil McLachlan. Minister Kate Jones was also with me during the conversation. He is looking to book accommodation for hundreds of players and officials at Queensland hotels for 2 months.
This time the players' families will be allowed to move into the Queensland hub as long as they serve a 2-week quarantine period.
Yeah, clearly kids, those who've been living with partners, those in longer term relationships, and then there's a bit of a catch-all for those individual circumstances. So it's, you know, it's not for someone who's had a partner for a few weeks.
The expanded Queensland hub is not cheap. It's going to cost the AFL roughly $3 million per week. But it's a sound investment given the hundreds of millions of dollars the AFL could lose if the season was forced to shut down. The AFL will now work with the players and clubs and try and cram the rest of the home and away season into a shorter period than 10 weeks.
If the players can do it and the clubs can make it work, we'll compress. So up to 10 weeks and it may be less.
A Victorian Grand Final is now a long shot, but the AFL will give all the states who want it until the end of August to lodge their bids.
And as I told Gil, if the season is based here, then perhaps he should be thinking about a Grand Final here as well.
The Grand Final is at the MCG until there are circumstances and reasons that it can't be, and then we'll make a different decision then.
Rob Waters for 10 News First.
Police have pleaded with drivers to avoid the southern border or prepare for a long wait as officers crack down on visitors from Victoria and New South Wales. Health authorities are ramping up testing to help cut off any potential spread of corona into Queensland. Here's Matthew Howard.
Here at Coolangatta, almost every interstate arrival is being questioned by police, while over at the airport, every passenger is being tested for COVID before being released from the terminal. It's one of multiple pop-up fever clinics across the Gold Coast that's seen a drastic rise in the number of patients presenting daily for testing. From tomorrow, another one will be set up indefinitely on the Surfers Paradise Esplanade for tourists and locals alike.
If the demand's high, we'll have some more pop-up station.
Free to the public, no appointment is needed to get tested. If anyone presents with a medical issue though, they'll be sent to their GP or hospital.
In terms of the Chief Health Officer, she's advised that it's really important that we test as many people as we can.
The increased testing is in response to Queensland's open border. At the 5 checkpoints in the southeast, drivers are experiencing delays of up to 2 hours at peak hour, as police further scrutinise every visitor from Victoria and New South Wales.
Look, the delays are very unfortunate, but they're unavoidable at the moment. We're working as hard as we can to get people through.
A review of the current border pass and checkpoint system is now underway to see if the process can't be sped up.
We're reviewing the appearance of the border declaration pass itself to make it easier for our intercepting officers to get people through quickly.
Police have ruled out issuing a separate pass for locals only and have warned anyone who is coming into Queensland to pack plenty of patience.
A Melbourne man attending a work party has been identified as patient 0 in Sydney's COVID outbreak. He's believed to have infected colleagues before they all went out to a pub, with 34 cases now linked to this one outbreak.
Our Chief Health Officer is calling them heroes.
I bought food and books. Not like yesterday, people were here 6 hours.
17,000 people came forward for testing yesterday. Today, there was another call to arms.
If you've been in these areas that we've announced, symptoms or not, come forward for testing.
And now they've made a critical breakthrough. The head of our tracing team joining the minister to announce they've identified patient 0.
And they all went to a party that night of the 3rd of July at the Crossroads Hotel. So this is where it all began.
It started with a man who travelled to Sydney from Melbourne on June 30 and spent time at a freight workplace in the city where he inadvertently infected up to 6 colleagues. They then held a staff party at the Crossroads Hotel on the 3rd, sparking the outbreak.
Our focus here in New South Wales is not to lay blame. Our focus is to make sure that our community is kept safe.
The cluster now stands at 34 infections. 14 were at the hotel, 18 are their close contacts, and 2 people have now caught it from them.
This virus could win a gold medal at the Olympics at the speed at which it moves, and that makes it particularly dangerous.
Infected patrons have now seen the closure of more businesses for cleaning. The MacArthur Tavern in Campbelltown was today closed, as was the Leagues Club in Lumia, a pizza place in Belfield, a burger bar in Parramatta, the Bankstown YMCA and a Woolworths in Barrel.
Oh no, here we go again.
But they say there's no need to lock down.
We will have transmission from time to time, and that's just the way it is. We've got to accept that this is the new world order.
It has meant 35 people have been turned around on the Queensland border because they're from a hotspot area. Today, the Northern Territory made the same call, but widened it to anyone who lives in Greater Sydney.
to open our borders to Sydney right now, when we don't know the full extent of this cluster, would be a roll of the dice. And I don't gamble with the lives of Territorians.
With borders closing, our health officials say now is a critical window to get this outbreak under control. Ursula Hager for 10 News First.
Jeffrey Epstein's former girlfriend has been denied bail in a New York court. Ghislaine Maxwell has been charged with helping recruit, groom and ultimately sexually abuse young girls. Today, the court heard from 3 of them. Eamon Ashton-Atkinson was there.
Well, Ghislaine Maxwell sat quietly throughout the 2.5-hour bail hearing, and it was only when the judge rejected her application for bail that she slumped her head in her hands and began crying. Now, this was a virtual hearing. Maxwell appeared from her cell over in Brooklyn across the river there. We heard from prosecutors today that she is an extreme flight risk, saying that she even hid her phone in tinfoil to try and escape detection. But it wasn't just the lawyers talking today. We heard from 3 of her accusers, one describing Maxwell as manipulative, saying that it was her in charge and she was egging Jeffrey Epstein on. Maxwell's lawyers argued that she isn't Jeffrey Epstein and has been the target of media spin. They raised concerns about COVID-19 and also said they were worried about what happened to Jeffrey Epstein happening to her. The judge ultimately rejected her bail application, though, saying there were too many red flags. Now, this means Maxwell will spend the next 12 months in a tiny prison cell waiting for her trial next year. The lights will be on 24 hours a day. She'll be monitored constantly. Today, she said she's very uncomfortable, and some of her accusers today said that's exactly how they want her to be.
Coming up, how a single spark triggered a massive explosion in Egypt. Also, if you don't mask, you don't get. Banksy strikes again. Plus, getting back in the game, why our mental health is set for a boost as play resumes. And in sport, Broncos captain Alex Glenn opens up on his roller coaster season.
We've gathered quite the lineup tonight, including a British pop princess, a former Aussie PM and a reality TV star. How's that combination? We'll see you soon.
Colossal Mascara from Maybelline, New York. Lashes go 100% colossal instantly. Colossal Collagen Mega Brush. 100% colossal volume, nothing less. No one does mascara like Maybelline, New York.
Time for a little break? Head to Macca's and get 4 of your favourite classic burgers in our new McBurger box for just $16.95. Or warm up with our range of hot and tasty pies for just $1.50 each.
Light up their faces with the awesomeness of puffed rice. LCMs are the surefire lunchbox hit.
So many things can change in 12 weeks. One of the least to change, the vibrancy of your hair colour. Tresemme Colour Shine Flex. Sulfate free. Keeps colour more vibrant for up to 12 weeks. Hair defined by Tresemme. The rest is defined by you.
Getting your tax done doesn't have to be slow and painful. That's why there's eTax. With an easy online form and a team of experts working to put money back in your pocket, you'll have your tax done in minutes, not days. And with thousands of 5-star reviews, you'll see why Australia loves eTax. Get your tax done the smart way. Go to etax.com.au.
I was on the servo and I saw on the CCTV screen this balding bloke with the same jacket as me. But when I turned around, there was nobody there. And that was it.
Reached your turning point? The doctors at Ashley & Martin could help regrow your hair.
JB Hi-Fi's Beat Screen Bonanza is on now with cracking deals. Like 200 off the latest Samsung 65-inch 4K TV. Or this huge 75-inch Samsung crunch to under $2 grand. Plus get free delivery, set up and connect on all TVs 75-inch and bigger. JB, you've done it again.
Are you waking up to those sad puppy eyes every day? Get tails wagging by registering for Paugust and take your dog for a daily walk. It's vital to their health and happiness. Us humans can benefit too. This August, make a commitment to walk 30 minutes a day and help raise money for guide dog pups in training. Take the lead and sign up today. Text PAW to 0419 224 445 to register and we'll send you a Pawdometer so you can record your dog's steps this August.
Save 20% on your second policy when you buy new, eligible Suncorp home and car insurance together before July 31st, helping you save when you need it most. That's the Suncorp spirit.
Okay, long black for Dave, skinny latte for Dave, hot chockey for Dave, and cappuccino for David. Who's David?
From $1 each, shout the team at 7-Eleven.
Is that chick from Badger Season?
Yeah, she's so hot.
Britt is absolutely gorgeous.
He really took me by surprise. Something about him that I want to get to know more.
I might be in trouble.
Bachelor in Paradise starts tonight on 10.
You're watching 10 News First. At least 17 people have been injured after an oil pipeline exploded in Egypt. The blast and huge fire erupted right next to a busy highway in Cairo, incinerating dozens of passing cars. A spark from a car is believed to have ignited crude oil, which had been leaking from the pipeline. Banksy has gone underground in his latest COVID-19 inspired artwork. The elusive artist took over a train on the London Tube, painting a piece called "If You Don't Mask, You Don't Get." It features rats spreading sanitiser, sneezing and wearing face masks. Transport officials removed the art some days ago due to the department's strict anti-graffiti policy. The sporting clubs have blown the whistle to allow social competitions to resume across the state this week. Now, for many of us, the weekly runaround is an important part of our routine, fitness and mental health. Our very own Chris Campy joined those eager to get back in the game.
The coronavirus pandemic and the restrictions aimed at slowing it down have had a huge impact on all of us. Many of us were forced to change our routines, and the loss of the things that we do each week, such as social sport, has had a huge impact on not only our fitness but also our mental health. It's been a long wait, but tonight here at Brisbane City Indoor Sports at Coorparoo, I'm joining hundreds who are keen to get back on the courts and remember just what it's like to have that outlet.
We've all got one, and this is my happy place. On this court, nothing that happened today or through the week matters. Here, I'm focused on something away from work, stress, or trouble. This is my outlet, my escape, my fix.
Things like the social connection element to it and social connection relationships are evidence to show lots of benefits in terms of our well-being, our ability to manage our stress.
It's felt like an eternity since lacing up for a game, and I'm not alone.
It's been a hard few months, so yeah, we're really excited.
We haven't done cardio in a while,
yeah, it was good to get back out and mix around with other people.
But it's been huge. We're almost back to where we were when we shut down, and there's been a lot of new teams as well coming in, so obviously people were really itching to get back.
Of course, there's a few COVID measures in place now, but staff who've survived on JobKeeper are getting paid again, and weeknight heroes have returned to the courts.
Is it an important part of your routine?
Yeah, 100%.
It's good to keep fit.
Yeah, and just like the human contact and, playing with mates, playing with people.
Sort of feeling it after the first 10, but yeah, really looking forward to getting back to it.
It feels like a release, an important measure for our mental health and fitness we've been missing out on.
Australians are sports mad, so for so many of us, getting out on the weekend or an evening, going and playing some indoor soccer or netball or whatever it might be, it's so important to so many of us, and so much of our identity, our self-esteem is tied into our ability to go and do well on a court or on a field.
Exercise is the best mental health exercise, so that's why we're here.
One thing I can certainly vouch for is that after all this time, of all the things I've missed about my weekly sport fix, the one thing I haven't missed is how I might feel tomorrow. I can guarantee I'm a little bit COVID unfit, and I might just be needing a day off tomorrow, guys.
A big man not looking too bad there, was he? He was doing all right. Jono, give us a bit more sport.
Thank you, Joe. Hello again. Broncos captain Alex Glenn is determined to return to his best despite suffering his fourth injury for the season. The 31-year-old refusing to contemplate early retirement as he begins to rehab a high-grade MCL complaint.
And there's going to be so many doubters saying, he's old, he should hang him up. But I still believe, I've still got a lot to give to this game.
Glenn should be fit for the last two matches of the regular season. Canberra coach Ricky Stewart would love nothing more than to shut up the critics after tomorrow's grand final rematch against the Roosters. Ravaged by injuries, the Raiders are desperate to prove they're still a premiership force.
It hasn't been a great year for the Green Machine. After winning 4 of their first 5 games, they've had just 1 victory from their last 4.
We've been written off, through this tough adversity, this difficult period. It gives us a great opportunity to show people what we're about.
The injury curse rolled on today. Curtis Scott ruled out after a cut in his arm became infected. But it's opened the door for 21-year-old Semi Valemei to make his debut.
He's doing a Zoom, I think, to his family in Fiji to let them know the news. So, it's very exciting for him and obviously his family back home.
The match has lost some of its gloss with both sides missing stars, but it hasn't stopped the mind games. The Roosters set to toy again with positional switches.
You know what I'm like with that. We'll name our teams, but you don't give a day's notice on changes or things that you want to do. So, we'll have to wait and see.
The coach far more talkative about returning to the hallowed turf of the SCG.
Best ground in Australia, in my sort of view. It's amazing walking out there. We love playing there, so can't wait to get back on there.
Playing in Sydney mightn't continue much longer, though. If COVID-19 hotspots skyrocket, it could force clubs en masse to Queensland.
Already some teams that have had to go through that, so we're no different to them.
We've got the game on and we've got to do what we have to do to keep the game alive.
Bernard Cohen for 10 News First.
Another spanner in the works for the supercar season. They'll have to COVID quarantine if their next round in Darwin is to go ahead as scheduled. The cars are lining up at Sydney Motorsport Park again this weekend, with Victorian-based teams still living out of suitcases.
Practice makes perfect ahead of this weekend's 3 races in Sydney. Motorsport Park at Eastern Creek is currently home for the likes of Mark Winterbottom, whose partner is looking after 3 kids under 10 in Victoria.
Everyone always fudges the numbers, but like 6 weeks could be 2 months or more. So, quite tough. You could have stayed home and said, I'm not doing it, but that would be your career over because you'd miss the next 6 races.
The Victorian-based teams had about an hour's warning before last week's border run.
We've personally forgot things, but from a team point of view, we're covered. There's no disadvantage.
Supercars is a travelling circus at the best of times. They're set up for life on the road. But right now, as cases of coronavirus pop up here in Western Sydney, it feels like they're trying to outrun the pandemic. The next round is set for Darwin, but as of this afternoon, anyone who's been to Sydney has to quarantine in the Northern Territory.
I haven't looked at the calendar too much because literally it's changing day to day. Sydney, when we come here, was safe, to now starting to get a few hot spots as well, so we want to get out of here to make sure we get to the next race.
Supercars wants to ensure every race is a winner. Saturday they go under lights.
It's a little bit harder to see cars and whatnot, so racing, there's probably a little bit easier to run into people or get run into, so there's a little bit more risk, but it probably looks a bit cooler as well.
And fans are finally allowed to watch live.
People stood outside the gate just to hear the cars. To see them at the grandstand is going to be really cool.
Bence Hammerley for 10 News First.
Golf fans get ready for history with Tiger Woods poised to surpass legend Sam Snead at a tournament hosted by the greatest Jack Nicklaus. Win Jack's Memorial Tournament and Woods will overtake Snead's long-standing all-time record of 82 PGA Tour wins. Before his first event since the death of George Floyd, Woods praised the Black Lives Matter movement.
I think change is fantastic. As long as we make changes without hurting the innocent, and unfortunately that has happened. Hopefully that doesn't happen in the future, but a movement and change is fantastic.
18-time major winner Nicklaus says he'll defy COVID-19 protocols and offered a handshake with every player at his tournaments. Play of the day time, and we thought we'd show you some highlights of Chris Campy's story that didn't quite make the final cut. Our senior reporter was the star in last night's basketball comeback, but don't let this smiling assassin fool you. He couldn't miss with the rock in hand, both from downtown and inside the paint. However, his return to the court was a bit like a slap in the face at times. But for turning the other cheek in the name of TV news, Campy's efforts were a slam dunk for our play of the day. He was a bit red-faced there, wasn't he?
Horrific swelling today. And that limp.
What a poor bloke.
Hopefully
He's got to show the good and the bad.
I know. He did all right, though. He did all right. Well. Thanks, Jono. Well, coming up, Josh has the extended forecast for the Gold and Sunshine Coast.
You know those moments when you just stop caring about anything else than what's right in front of you?
All I could think of was kissing him.
If I didn't already have butterflies in my stomach, they were flying out in all directions at this point.
I was swept off my feet.
He's 100% my future baby daddy.
It just feels so perfect.
From the second she walked in, I was in love with her.
Bachelor in Paradise starts 7:30 tonight.
Building a sandcastle? Don't let persistent joint and back pain stop you there. Introducing Advil 12 Hour, a bilayer tablet that dissolves in 2 phases. One layer dissolves quickly for fast pain relief. The other releases gradually for up to 12 hours of pain relief with just 1 tablet. So you can build a bigger sandcastle. Up to 12 hours to build a whole sand street. Why not start a whole sand civilization? Just 1 tablet for up to 12 hours of relief from persistent pain. Advil 12 Hour.
What's better than bacon? More bacon. Hungry Jack's Baconator Deluxe. 4 rashers of premium bacon and 2 flame grilled beef patties. The Baconator Deluxe from Hungry Jack's. Available on Uber Eats, menu log and the Hungry Jack's app. The burgers are better.
Wherever you go, whatever you do, the Honda HR-V will keep you connected, entertained and on track. With Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, now as standard across the range. The Honda HR-V, as different as the people who drive it.
Cookie people, cream people, crumbs people, clean people, twist people, lick people, dunk people, munch people. It's time to play, people. If you twist, lick, dunk, then you're my people. We are Oreo people.
Creating the ultimate memories sometimes means creating the toughest stains. Omo Ultimate attacks tough stains first time. And new Omo Odour Eliminator removes sweat stains and fights bacteria growth. Try our gold standard.
There's nothing like a hot mug of Milo. Keeps you feeling all warm and snug. Yep, I could really go for a hot Milo now. Love it.
At Drake Supermarkets, we've got ingredients for the pet days and the wet days, the roast days and the smashed avo on toast days. Drake Supermarkets.
Ingredients for every day.
Stay healthy by staying informed and start the journey towards feeling your best with NIB. From tips to mentally recharge, to workouts at home, deliciously easy recipes and how to access important health services. The Checkup is NIB's online content hub created by industry experts, full of ideas and inspiration for healthy living, and it's available to all Australians. Search NIB's The Checkup today. It's worth it.
Hey, Powerball is now at $3 million. Are you keen? Well, first you have to play.
Play now in-store at thelot.com or on the Lot app.
So good to see you again, Harry.
You too, Granny.
I'm actually glad we split.
Really?
Yes. Whoever thought you could combine a supreme and pepperoni?
Nothing brings people together like a Domino's half and half. Bring it in.
Coles is giving away thousands in vouchers. To enter, grab tonight's code word and head to 10 Play Win. Keep watching for more chances to win.
Up next, COVID-19 clusters grow in Victoria and New South Wales. But is elimination or suppression the best way to handle the pandemic? Meet the author unmasking Melania Trump, why she says the First Lady is more influential than we think. Plus, you need to tune in for our chat with Ellie Golding. The Project next.
It's Weather time now, Josh. The sunny skies are stretching far and wide.
They certainly are, Joe. Not looking fantastic, I should say, for southeast Queensland, but also stretching further north around areas of the tropics, Cairns, Townsville, Atherton, all seeing clear skies and sunshine at the moment, all due to an area of high pressure muscling on in over areas of Queensland over the next 24 hours as the low pressure system, which has caused those stronger wind speeds, starts to move away towards New Zealand. We are expecting a clear day across the state tomorrow, but morning frost patches certainly a feature over the southern and central inland as we get through Thursday. Slight chance of a shower around the peninsula, but most areas, as mentioned, dry. Moving up to the states north, check it out, Cairns 25 degrees and sunshine along with Townsville tomorrow. The Isa not looking too shabby either, hitting 26 degrees. Sunny skies for Longreach and Roma after a frosty start, and we're looking at a great day for Rocky, Gladstone, Bundaberg, and the sunny skies stretching through Maryborough and Gympie. Into the southeast, fine and sunny skies, overnight temperatures falling to between 3 and 9 degrees, with daytime temperatures reaching between 18 and 22. For Brisbane City, 22 the top, right on average for this time of year, and it'll stay beautiful right through this week. 24 degrees Friday, 23 Saturday, and 24 degrees on Sunday afternoon. The weekend at this stage looking absolutely fantastic. 22 the top for Ipswich tomorrow, 24 Friday, Saturday, then up to 25 Sunday and 26 on Monday. Winter, what winter? Looking absolutely fantastic. So too the Gold Coast, 21 the top tomorrow, 23 Friday, staying dry, mostly sunny Saturday, and we're looking at a sunny day Sunday with a top of 23 to round out the weekend. The Sunshine Coast also looking magnificent, 21 the top tomorrow after a coolish start of 10 degrees, 22 Friday, Saturday, 23 Sunday, and up to a very balmy 24 degrees on Monday. So the forecast certainly tells the tale, Joe. Some very nice weather on the way.
It's a good one. Thank you, Josh. Well, that is 10 News First for now. Of course, for more details on tonight's bulletin, head to 10play.com.au. Stay on 10. The project is next. Thank you so much for your company. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow night from 5 o'clock. Good night.
Tonight.